You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
Two on, two out, tied at 1, bottom of the 6th. Pitch. Swing, and he sends it weakly to center field. India racing back. It's over his head and drops in. Bregman comes home. Here's a Abreu, and Trevor Story comes through again. Red Sox lead 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th.
And now Williams backed into a corner. No room for error. One out, bases loaded, full count. Now they're coming to their feet. 10th pitch of the at-bat. And it's lifted to center. That's down, base hit. 2 runs headed to the plate. And the Rangers at long last have the lead. What an at-bat by Rowdy Tellez. Even a better day. Great at-bat.
Red Sox win. Yankees lose. Mets lose. It's a glorious Hump Day Wednesday here on the Pete Shepherd Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Sports Network. That's right. It is now the new Coastal Sports Digital Network. How's everybody doing this morning? This is the Pete Shepherd Show here Monday through Friday from 7 a.m., sometimes to 10, sometimes to 9, sometimes to 9:30. It just depends on what we have. But glorious day today. Another great win by the Red Sox last night. There's 7 straight. The Yankees, in case you fell asleep, lost late to the Texas Rangers 2-0. The Mets continue their losing ways as well. Philly wins. We got a lot of baseball to cover today. We've also got some breaking NFL news, sort of from last night. It was rumored last week that this was going to happen. ESPN acquiring NFL Network and Red Zone from the NFL. What amazes me is this is their lead story on their webpage, and this morning on Unsportsmanlike on their national radio show, they refuse to address it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. We'll break it all down for you, what it means for you. It also means ESPN's going to get 10% in the ownership. Why do I get my Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Captain Kirk, James Tiberius Kirk, red alert in the back of my neck when I cringe a little when I think of ESPN taking over. It's more the Red Zone stuff because I'm already hearing they're going to have commercials in it, which they never have in Red Zone. We'll get into it. They get a 10% ownership in the NFL, and God only knows what that is going to mean. But hopefully, I don't trust them in Bristol. I just don't. I don't trust them to ever do the right thing. But we'll get into it. And also, Angel Martinez, this morning breaking news with ESPN, they have acquired WWE programming, the premier live programming starting in 2026. That broke this morning, a few hours ago. So ESPN. I mean, I guess we won't, because I won't. But most of the broadcast injuries are going to end up working for Disney. So not only do they get the NFL, they get WWE premier live programming starting next year in 2026. We've got Colin Cowherd today, not going off of the Miami Dolphins, going off on Brian Schottenheimer for the way he dresses, which Schottenheimer retaliates. Jerry Jones as well, sounding like a Muppet as usual, talking about Micah Parsons. We have that. We have the couple of funny videos. Last night, the Brooklyn Cyclones, I don't even know the double A, I don't know. But they had, in Brooklyn last night, Angel, it was Seinfeld night, and they had an Elaine dance competition, which we have the video of that, which is a very funny. And also, my man Josh Prey, who I didn't get to yesterday, has a message for aliens, the extraterrestrial aliens up there, to not invade Earth at this moment. It's actually kind of stuff I brought up before, like certain things. If you see, what goes on in this country sometimes. Especially if you're just focusing on Walmart people in their pajamas and, big ass cracks sticking out and all that crap. We say good morning to Angel Martinez. Good morning, Angel. How are you?
Good morning, Pete. I am good. And I did see that. Well, 2 things. One is speaking about the aliens, how all of a sudden now we're on the race to the moon, and they want to put a nuclear power plant on the moon so you can get things done and blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was comical yesterday. But then the whole thing with ESPN, because now it's like it's an overtake of overtakings. And how much are you now going to ruin the product that I thought the NFL Network was doing pretty good on their own? But apparently, I guess they want ESPN in there. I'm not a fan of it. I think the NFL Network should remain with the NFL. But once again, I guess it's ESPN.
It ain't happening. Too much money. It ain't happening. It's too much. They get too much money. It's just a question of what type of programming we're going to see. I mean, they're going to. I don't know how much more it can change. I don't know what's going to be dictated. I don't know. I don't trust them in Bristol. ESPN will also require the NFL's fantasy product and merge it into existing platform, making ESPN Fantasy Football the official game of the NFL. So Phil Yates will be happy about that, or Buddy. In a separate deal, the NFL also agreed to license to ESPN other NFL content and intellectual property that will appear on NFL Network and other assets. The NFL Network will be owned and operated by ESPN, which will control the network's linear and digital rights, but they won't control the digital rights for Red Zone. NFL Network will be integrated into ESPN's upcoming direct-to-consumer streaming product and will continue to be available on traditional pay TV providers. They're not getting the package, so that'll still be part. YouTube TV has that locked up. ESPN platforms will also license 3 additional NFL games per season, giving it a total of 28. NFL Network will continue to show 7 games per season, with some games shifting to NFL Network from ESPN's original schedule. Dates and games were not announced. All of the ESPN-owned games will air on linear and ESPN's direct-to-consumer platform. According to a joint statement, ESPN will own broad rights to Red Zone, including the trademark, and continue to distribute the channel to pay TV operators. The NFL will continue to own, operate, and produce the Red Zone channel and will try to keep the rights to distribute it digitally. Try. The league will also continue to own and operate some of its media businesses, including NFL Films and NFL.com. So ESPN is 80% owned by ABC, which, of course, is the subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, and 20% by Hearst. The agreements between ESPN and the NFL are subject to approval, and NFL owners and government regulators, and of course, it'll all be approved. I don't want anybody messing with the Red Zone. I don't want anybody messing with Scott Hansen and that kind of stuff. The rest of it's on YouTube TV. The rest of it, it doesn't really matter to me. They always have, if they want to have 7 people do all these shows, I don't need to have 7 people every Sunday tell me what I already know during the week, with very, very few exceptions of Adam Schefter breaking injury news on Sundays. There is nothing else that a lot of these bozos are going to tell me that I don't already know. That's why I don't watch a lot of those pregame shows on Sundays. College football is different for me. College football, I love it. I love game day. I love Reese Davis. I love the crew that's on there. I like it better than Fox. I just do. But this year, because Dave Portnoy from Barstool is going to be part of it, definitely going to have to check that out, my man. Sure. Anyway, we had, and I guess I went to bed after the Red Sox game last night. It was about, I think, 10 of 10, 5 of 10 around there, maybe a little after. And I guess I missed some massive thunderstorm. Lots of lightning here in Fort Myers. Slept right through it. Got up at 3:30 this morning to go to the bathroom, but I guess I missed it. I slept right through it. How'd you guys do up there?
Yeah, we haven't had today's what, Wednesday? Yeah. Sunday night, we kind of had some go through, but it didn't really last as long as it normally does. But no, we were supposed to get it, but we didn't. If we did, I'd probably end up sleeping through it, which normally I don't. But no, other than you go outside right now, it's a little soupy. It's going to get up to about 106, 107 the heat index, the usual summer stuff. But nah, we got next to nothing. Although yesterday the past couple of days, we've had the mid-afternoon showers. But other than that, it's...
we had a couple yesterday. Today it's going to be down here in Fort Myers, Southwest Florida area is going to be anywhere from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock tonight. Scattered showers all day.
Yeah. Then the only thing I saw out there in the Atlantic Basin was something like 40% chance. Another one was like 50, but they were saying by the time, because of the Sahara dust coming across Africa over here, that's going to keep that stuff pretty much at bay. That's exactly what we want, because we don't need anything early on here during hurricane season.
All All right, Bill Sparrow said opening for Scott Zolak. So, yes, a lot of pressure is on. Yeah, Bill Sparrows, the great Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and senior betting analyst at bookies.com. First guest today at 8:05. And then Zoe, my man Zoe, Scott Zolak, former Patriot, Jet, and Miami Dolphin quarterback, and current talk show host, number one midday show in the country rating-wise with Zoe and Bertrand. And, of course, he does the color commentating for the New England Patriots on the radio flagship 98.5 The Sports Hub. He's going to be joining me at 9 o'clock, and we'll get his take on how he feels Patriots camp is going, and the rest of, we'll just probably focus on the AFC East, but the rest of the NFL as well. I'm going to start with the Red Sox today, and here's the thing. I'm not politically correct, and I don't give a flying hoot who cares or gets angry at me for saying this. There's a lot of male reporters out there who watched the Red Sox last night who are timid and afraid of losing their jobs or afraid they're going to get chastised on social media for what I'm about to say, and I know that 99.9% agree with me. Last night on NESN, the Red Sox had an all-female cast on. Alana Rizzo, who is very good, by the way, play-by-play. She does the Portland Sea Dogs, the Red Sox AA team. This has nothing to do with the lack of knowledge or anything like that. Her baseball knowledge is fine. The fact that they did this last night during a pennant type of season, and you want to have these gimmicky broadcasts, do it on NESN Plus, because on NESN Plus, a lot of times they'll have Jonathan Papelbon on. They do like what ESPN does, Angel, with the Manning brothers.
Right.
They have like an alternate cast sometime during the game, which I think is really cool that NESN does that. Put them on that. If you want to do some kind of a gimmicky thing, I got no problem with that. But I want to hear Dave O'Brien. I want to hear Lou Maloney. This is an important series. You got your ace going. I don't want to hear a bunch of pedantic blathering. And you have guests on and professional athletes, and I respect what they do. They're talking about the Women's Professional Hockey League, which 5 people go to a year. And most people don't even know that in New England they even have a team because nobody goes. And you start talking about all these things. They had no feel for what was going on in the game. Zero. It was annoying. I switched to the Kansas City broadcast, which was worse. But I'm just saying, if you're going to do this gimmicky stuff, most of these networks have alternate, like a Plus, NESN Plus. I don't know if in Philly they have that. But you want to do celebrate. I have no problem celebrating women play-by-play in sports and all that stuff. That was not the game to do it. I'm sorry. I want my regular guys who are around the team all the time to understand and give you. I'd much rather hear Dave O'Brien and Lou Maloney. I'm sorry. Than Alana Rizzo and company. I don't give a shit. They are not around the team. Yes, she does a great job with Portland. She's around a lot of AA players that are going to eventually be with the Red Sox. This has nothing to do with that or their professionalism, except for a couple of things. One, take a breath during the broadcast. It was like listening to 5 Dinos talk. It was like, I was like, please, take a breath. And no feel for what was going on in the game. Zero. But you're going to have a lot of this, it's so great but you're going to have all the politically correct people who are faking it. And that's what all it is faking it. Oh, what a great broadcast it was. It was not a great broadcast. It sucked. It sucked because there was no feel for any of the big moments in that game last night. Zero. Put that stuff. You want to do gimmicky play-by-play stuff, whether it's you want to have kids on or you want to have an all-woman, anything that's alternative. I have no problem with it. Stick it on NESN Plus. Don't take my guys. And the fact that they didn't put Dave O'Brien and Lou Maloney on NESN Plus, as far as I know, that's even more of a disgrace. I don't get it. I really don't. It doesn't make it. And I'm telling you, the comments from non-media people,
right,
off the chart, horrible. And and take away the idiot sexist people, because you're going to get that no matter what. This is not about that. This is not about men or women. This is about gimmicky broadcasts that happen a lot in this business. That had no business being on NESN last night. You should have put it on NESN Plus, plain and simple. And people are going to be, well, it's just one game. You're a get off my lawn type of guy. Hey, fuck you. Here's what I want when I'm watching when I'm watching this team right now. They are red hot. I want people who are going to be inspired by the moment and not talking about the Women's Professional Hockey League, which 2 people on the planet know exists. It's just that simple. Sorry. And I don't care if people get offended by what I'm telling. I tell the truth. I'm telling you how it is. And you will have. I saw people, reporters in Boston, who I love. Oh, what a great broadcast! I mean, just ass kicking unnecessarily. It was not a good broadcast last night. It wasn't. And there are plenty of men's broadcasts that suck too. When we talk about that all the time. How many times do I rip men on ESPN and what they do?
Ton of it.
Tons of times. This has nothing to do with that. That what happened last night just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. And I hope that in the future, NESN, if you're listening, put that stuff over on NESN Plus and let me have my boy Dave O'Brien and my other boys, either with Lou Merloni, Will Middlebrooks, Lenny Dinar, whoever you have out there. Give me my normal guys. This is a team that is red hot right now. Hottest team in baseball. They've won 7 in a row. They're 3 games behind the Blue Jays, and they are in first place for the wild card, 3.5 games up on Seattle. The Yankees are fading. They are only half a game ahead of Texas after their loss last night. So all right, I'm off my soapbox now. It has nothing to do with the professionalism of the ladies who were doing it last night. I do wish they would have taken a breath a time or two because it was nonstop. You couldn't get, and they were missing pitches. They were late on some of the hits and all. It just didn't feel. It felt like a high school broadcast. That's what it felt like. Sorry,
No, it's never good. Not in pro sports.
Sorry,
If you sound amateurish during a pro level sport, no way. And I mean, listen, we know there's professional women's hockey coming, but why would you bring it up during a?
Well, I know they did it. No, I know why they did it because they're promoting women's sports and they had a player on for the. But who goes to? I don't even know. I know there's a league. It's the same thing with the women's soccer league. They have a hard enough time in this country getting MLS people and the men to go. Forget the women. I know certain towns like Seattle and Portland, they have good crowds and all that. New England's not too bad. You guys have a team in Philadelphia? I don't even know.
Yep. No, yeah. they pull a great.
Miami does well down here because of Messi. But, I mean, nobody goes to the water cooler going, geez, man, boy, that Philadelphia MLS game last night, that was fantastic. Nobody does that. We are in the precipice of football season. We got pennant races going on with the Red Sox and the Phillies. Phillies in the National League, obviously the Red Sox in the American League and everything else. And I got to listen for 5 minutes about the Women's Professional Hockey League that 2 people go to on the planet. It's ridiculous. Put that stuff on an alternate network, plain and simple. 99% of us don't want to hear about it. We don't care. It's not something that is relevant in the sports world. It just isn't. I don't want to see it dissipate. I want to, I'm all for women's professional sports and all of that stuff, but don't shove it down my throat when everybody on the planet, except for 2 people, isn't going to watch it. It's plain and simple. And 99% of the people will agree with me, except for the people that will be you're being the get off my lawn guy. You're against women broadcast. It has nothing to do with that. It's about timing. Put that stuff on NESN Plus. Nobody watching the Red Sox game wanted to hear that last night. I promise you, nobody, except for close family and friends of the people who were doing that show. All right, now I'm off my soapbox. Anyway, Red Sox win last night. Once again, 7th in a row. Garrett Crochet, outstanding, scattered 4 hits over 7 innings. Trevor Story hit the blooper into center field to break a 6th-inning tie on Tuesday night, and the Red Sox win their 7th straight. Crochet's now 13-4, struck out 8, and to win his 9th consecutive decision, and help the Red Sox win for the 9th time in 10 games, and they are now, 14-1 at home in the last 15. Really, really outstanding. Something they have not done the last couple of years is use Fenway to their advantage. I mean, the place is rocking. It really is, and in Philadelphia, Angel, at this time of year when your team is in contention in Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. Well, no New York, because no New York team is in contention. The Yankees and Mets are fading fast. You can give me all the excuses about this, that, or the other thing. They both are in serious trouble right now, which pleases me. Sorry, Jay. No offense, but I hate the Mets and I hate the Yankees. And I hate the Rangers and I hate the Islanders. And I have no problem with that. I do like St. John's and Syracuse. I'll always defend my Big East brothers and sisters, because I still think of them as the Big East. But the rest of New York, I don't care. I love the rivalries, by the way. I still love the rivalries, but I'm not going to sit here and hope that the Red Sox play the Yankees in the playoffs, because that hasn't gone too well for the Yankees either. The last, I'd say, 3 or 4 times that they've met has not gone really that well. But still a lot of baseball left by far. But the Red Sox are playing some damn good baseball right now. If we could scroll down, Angel, right under the show, let's hear our first video. Here's Garrett Crochet after getting, and by the way, we'll have NFL camp news later on today after break as well. At 7:30, we'll go all NFL. Garrett Crochet after getting some extra rest between starts. It's right under the show, Angel, right under it. It's the first video right under the show. You might have to refresh.
That's why I had to refresh. There it is. Right. And here we go.
Surprised how crispy you were given the time off?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like normally extended rest makes me feel a little bit rusty. But I was able to squeeze 2 bullpens in that time, so I felt like it kind of just helped me stay up to date.
How good you felt in the first 4 innings? You were dealing.
Yeah. First 4 felt really good. Made some good pitches that got hit there in the 4th, but overall I felt like I was in command today, doing what I wanted to do. Spammed sweeper pretty heavy, but if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. So I just kind of kept riding it.
How different is this second half compared to last year, where you kind of had that 4-inning cap and
Right.
you're kind of unleashed now and kind of can just let it go?
It's nice. It's nice still having some team goals too that we want to achieve. So there's really something to shoot for. Arm's been feeling really healthy, so just looking forward to continue to stack, wins.
You've punctuated a lot of outings with big strikeouts, big celebrations. I think that might be the most animated. Just where the team is, the crowd. Just what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was felt really good. Figured that was my last hitter as well, even with the lefty coming up, just where my pitch count was kind of getting to. He battled pretty hard the at-bat prior, and then I kind of gave in and had to throw a cutter in zone and left it out over. So for that at-bat, I felt like I was, fairly in control. And I just didn't want to give up the lead again. I had already given up 1 that inning, so it shortened the lead pretty quickly. But for me, it was...
All right, that's good, Angel.
I just wanted that strike.
All right, Garrett Crochet, outstanding. He retired the first 10, by the way, before Bobby Wood tripled. But outstanding. Ninth, he's just been unbelievable. All right, if we can scroll down to a couple, Angel, down to from WEI last night with Will Fleming and Will Middlebrooks, as Jaron Duran spoke with the boys after the game. Actually, you know what? You don't have to do that, Angel. I'll play it. It's just audio, so I can play that from here.
Okay.
My bad.
JD, how you feeling, first of all? And I would imagine that the feeling in that room is as good as it can be.
Yeah, man. I just, the vibes are so high right now, and we're just all backing each other up, which is so awesome to see. I mean, we pick a player of the game, and it's so hard every single day because there's so many guys doing every single thing. So, each day it's somebody's fighting for the trophy. So that's a really good feeling.
Well, who got it today then?
I can't give that out. I can't be that guy to give that out.
You can't be that guy.
Can't be that guy.
I get it. Well, Berger pitched well, right? He had a good slider working. He was hitting his spots. Wasn't really making mistakes. I feel like this is a group that just grinds it out until they figure it out. Right? And you had some good luck, some dumped in there. The boys, like you said, the vibes were high. What'd you see from Berger today?
Yeah, man, that guy's such a good pitcher. I mean, he was spotting up. He was really painting everything, and we know when we got guys that are going like that, we just gotta grind and try to extend some at bats and hopefully wear him down a little bit. And we were to wear him down a little bit and get those little key knocks when we needed them.
You have made so much.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about Berger, and it was a perplexing trade, I thought, because the pitcher that pitched last night, I figured he would do pretty well. Red Sox never seen him. He was pitching for the Padres. He had a 2.17 ERA, mostly out of the bullpen for like 37 innings for the Padres, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't get why San Diego would give him up. It's weird. But he was good. He pitched well last night. It's kind of what I expected. He warmed down, third time through the lineup. They get to him, and they score they scored some runs, but the Red Sox ended up winning 6-2. If we could, Angel, scroll down right below that. This is I might need my universal translator again just to see. Well, you're Abreu on being close to the fans now in right field, which I thought was I don't know. Probably could have asked him something more significant, but here we go.
Playing over there in that corner, you are the closest of any of the players to the fans because you're the low wall. Now that the ballpark's been sold out so much and the energy's been so crazy, like what's that like for you getting up there, getting close to kind of this atmosphere?
No, es muy emocionante, obviamente. Los fanáticos aquí son increíbles de la manera en la que nos apoyan y obviamente ahora que estamos en un buen momento es increíble ver cómo los fanáticos cada vez gritan más, cada vez se escucha más y se siente ese bonito ambiente.
Yeah, no. So he gets very emotional because he's excited how the fans react up in the stands. So he really enjoys it in the short interim.
Okay.
Our fans, they're the best, especially now that we're playing well and things are going good for us. Just to see how much they're yelling and how loud they're getting, it's been really fun.
Playing over there in that corner.
All right, that's good. That's good. There you have it right there. There's your little Red Sox recap. They will go to try to sweep the series today. Dustin May was going to be on the mound for the Red Sox tonight, I should say. No getaway day for Kansas City. The game is a night game tonight. So you will have Dustin May on the mound. He's 6-7 this year. The guy they got from the Dodgers at the trade deadline, 4.85 ERA, makes his Red Sox debut against Kansas City's Michael Wacha, who was 5-9, 3.38 ERA. He's a very good pitcher. So this should be another interesting game today with tonight with the Red Sox. All right. Meanwhile, elsewhere around Major League Baseball yesterday, let's get right to the Yankees. This was Aaron Judge was activated after missing 10 games with an elbow injury. Scoreless until the bottom of the 8th inning.
And now Williams backed into a corner. No room for errors. One out, bases loaded, full count. Now they're coming to their feet. 10th pitch of the at-bat. And it's lifted to center. That's down, base hit. 2 runs headed to the plate. And the Rangers at long last have the lead. What an at-bat by Rowdy Tellez.
Even a better day. Great at-bat.
Great day, great night. Texas wins. Beat the Yankees again. The Yankees have lost, 8 in a row? They are in trouble. And I'm serious. I mean, you got to wonder. It's never all the manager's fault and everything else. Players are not executing. I understand that. But, man, this team is in a big-time slump, and they're only a half a game up on the Rangers for the 3rd wild card spot. So if Texas wins today, the Yankees wouldn't even be a playoff team. We will see what happens. Toronto clobbered Colorado last night. Not surprising at all. Let's see. Boom. It's like home run derby over there. Of course.
Right field into the night sky and the upper deck at Coors Field. My goodness, a towering shot from Varsho. The Blue Jays' 3rd homer of the inning. It's 7-2. Last night's home run was a changeup down in the zone.
Blue Jays hit, Angel, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 home runs last night at Coors Field on their way to a 10-4 win. Just keep taking the over in that series. You'll all be able to retire. Tampa Bay finally got back on track last night.
But it's not, it's not Clayton Kershaw 2.5.
Look at this thing bounding through the infield. And it'll get 2 Rays runs home as Jake Mangum drives in Caminero and low, and suddenly it's 4-0 Rays.
Boy, how about that? And that's pulling.
At FanDuel Sports with that call. By the way, earlier it was from Sportsnet for the Toronto Maple Leafs, for the Toronto Blue Jays call. Tampa Bay beats the Angels 7-3. Before that, 2-run signal by Magnum back in the 4th inning. Lowe hit a 2-run homer as well. Let's see. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia last night, the Phillies home run barrage continues.
That one's hit well out to right center field. On the run is Noda. It is gone! Brandon Marsh, his 6th home run of the year.
Marsh!
It just had enough, and the Phillies lead it 5-0.
I kind of played that out of order. Should have played this one first.
It's a career year for.
No, it's not for you. Hang on a second. Well, it is, but hang on a second. This is before. This is in the bottom of the second.
And a high fly ball out to right field. Going back, O'Neill back toward the wall. It is gone into the first row. Max Kepler, 2-run home run, and the Phillies lead it 3-0.
Don't think Baltimore got the scouting report. That was a fastball.
Yes, and the Phillies go on to blank Baltimore by a score of 5-0. Cincinnati and Chicago Reds trying to climb up the ladder here to get into the wild card hunt, which they are definitely in.
In the air, left field. Happ going back on this windy night. That is gone. The 13th of the year for Steer. Right into the Chicago wind, and the Reds ahead 4-1.
Did we mention that Spencer Steer comes up big in big spots? That's the 2nd consecutive at bat. He's done exactly that.
All right, thanks to FanDuel Cincinnati, and the Reds go on to beat the Cubbies by a score of 5-1. Seattle hanging on to one of the wild card spots as well, took on the White Sox last night as well. And let's see, let's give you one of the highlights from that one.
Gino!
Oh, my goodness.
Tagged it to left like he never left Seattle.
Thanks to Root Sports for that call. That put the Mariners up 3-1 at the bottom of the 4th. Let's head to the bottom of the 7th.
Top of the dugout and that left to mark. Oh.
On its way, Naylor, a home run.
Nice bat flip right there, too. Bat boy.
Nice. Sounds like a hockey horn going off. Minnesota got it going early against Detroit in the 1st inning yesterday.
As he swings and launches high and deep to left field. Back it goes. Deep it goes and gone. Luke Keeschel with his first major league home run. Welcome back to the rookie, and what an impact he's making already tonight. Luke. It is 3-0 Twins here in the opening inning.
They cruised. They were up. Keeschel had another RBI single in the 5th. Minnesota doubles up Detroit 6-3. San Fran pounded Pittsburgh by a score of 8-1. Cleveland and the Mets. Let's start with another Mets choke job. They get out to a 2-0 lead, Angel. Last
might come get Vientos at home. Right.
And that's lined into left field. Coming on fast as Quanti has to play it on the hop. Vientos comes in to score. Tyrone Taylor snaps it 0 for 19 with an RBI single, and it's 2-0 New York. That has to be.
Things going great in the bottom of the 2nd. Thanks to SNY, Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with the call right there. Let's head, though, to the top of the 4th inning.
Manzardo with a liner to center. It's sinking. Taylor coming on. Can't get there. And everybody moves up 90 feet, and the Guardians cut the lead in half. Manzardo with RBI number 49 on the line drive single to center field. He gets Quan home. Ramirez.
So it's 2-1 now. The lead was cut in half. I don't know who the play-by-play and color man are for the Guardian, but it's from the Guardian Sports Network. Let's head now to the top of the 4th inning.
See if Arias can get himself a 2-out knock here. Even this score up. Make him work a little harder.
There you go. Base hit right field. Ties the game. Ramirez scores. Bo Naylor stops at second. From your lips to Arias's ears.
That's beautiful. Just what you wanted right there. All right. You got your 2 tie game, and don't let it stop.
All right, so it stayed that way, but let's head to the top of the 7th inning. The choke job is complete.
Stephen Kwan, 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 4th. Right
There
back
you
up
go.
the middle and through. Go ahead, run around third. CJ Kafis will score. The throw to third is not in time. Rocchio gets in safely, and Kwan takes second on the throw, and the Guardians lead it 3-2.
That's what we're talking about. And he's been getting the ball up, and it's been middle of the plate. This one just sneaks through.
In the words of Jerry Seinfeld, all right. Angelo, hey, Angelo, the late Frank from Gloucester, used to be a great caller in Boston, yelling from his Yankee cloud. The Yankees should fire Aaron Boone. He was funny. Frank from Gloucester was a character. The Milwaukee Brewers. So anyway, the Mets lose 3-2 after blowing a 2-0 lead. They're in serious trouble. Milwaukee had their way with Atlanta last night as well.
Logan Henderson came up for Mizorowski. He's got a sub-2 ERA in his 5 starts.
Eli White hammers this to left. Eli White, 2 homers in Bristol, another one here 2 days later in Atlanta.
We'll talk to
That made it 4-1. The Braves they scored 2, but Milwaukee pounded them by a score of 7-2. Thanks to FanDuel South for that one. Let's see, Arizona and San Diego last night as well.
That was not the case last night against Fott, Hoffman, and Backus. Sanders sends that one in the air, high and deep to left field. McCarthy back. Oh yeah, it's going to go. Xander Bogaerts is 8th of the year, and the Padres answer back with a lead home run here in the 2nd inning.
All right, San Diego doubles up Arizona by a score of 10-5. The Dodgers did the same thing to St. Louis. It was a Max Muncy montage here for you. Let's go to the bottom of the 1st inning.
So the base is empty in the first. First pitch drilled to right field. Max is back.
All right, thanks for that. And that was in the bottom of the 1st inning. Let's head now to the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Held out hope. Max has been there. Swatted into the air to right field. Heading back toward the wall. How about another?
Now, not to be outdone in this game, that made it 4-2. The Dodgers, by the way, Muncy ended with 4 RBI in that game. But let's head to the bottom of the 3rd.
19th of his career. Now Teoscar Hernandez hammers the ball to left field and deep. This ball is gone! Teo tees off. And the Dodgers push one more across. 5-2.
Let's head to the bottom of the 7th. He wasn't done yet either.
1 pitch. Hernandez lights it up. High in the air. Left center field. Teo times 2. Teoscar Hernandez with his 2nd home run of the night. A 3-run blast, and the Dodgers have broken it open.
Thanks to Sportsnet LA, they double up St. Louis by a score of 12-6. Houston Astros, fresh off their embarrassing sweep by the Red Sox, have turned it on a bit now the last couple of games. And they got it going early once again last night against Miami. Hey. Well, I guess not that cut. All right, then we'll do this one. 5th inning.
He hits one high. He hits one deep. He hits one all the way out and gone. A three-pointer for Yainer Diaz deep into the seats in Miami. And the Astros lead this game 7-1.
Yainer Diaz. Bartender put a little extra on that Yainer bomb.
Would that be a floater? Like if you were getting a margarita, little floater on top, a little rum, 151 maybe, or some Malibu, whatever. Houston was on to beat Miami by a score of 7-3. Athletics. I was watching some of this game last night early on because it was like the first game on before the Red Sox and the Phillies run at the same time as well. But the Athletics got it going very early in this one.
Here's the pitch, line drive, hit well towards center field. Going back is Jacob Young, and he leaps up and can't get the catch. Daryl Hernandez with a home run. Number 2 on the season for Daryl, make it 5-0 Athletics.
Well, things have, as I said, unfolded very quickly here in this first inning. The Athletics, 5 hits, 5 runs on the.
All right, let's go to the top of the 5th inning.
Here's the payoff pitch. And the left field, this one is going to stay fair and gone. Shea Langoliers with a multi-homer day.
Yep, and A's pounded Washington last night by a score of 16-7. All right, that is your MLB roundup right there. But before we go to break, because I may not be able a chance to play it, sticking with the baseball theme, Angel, if we could, if we scroll down, last night at the Brooklyn Cyclones, the Elaine dance competition was held on Seinfeld night. It is absolutely, you have to see this. Sorry, those of you listening on SRR 1029, the app, you may not get the full effect here, but those of you across our video platform on X, on Twitter, on our Facebook pages, on CSN, DNFL, on online, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, on YouTube, and of course, you can always call or text the show, 727-858-6652. So this minor league baseball does a great job, either single, double, or AAA, at promotions. Sometimes I think MLB should take a page out of their respective minor league books and do stuff like this. Is funny.
Yeah, I'd have to give it to her. I think she does.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I just won the Elaine Dance Contest. This is so crazy. I honestly feel like I was raised by Seinfeld. I have been doing the Elaine Dance as like a fun party trick my entire adult life. So I feel like in many ways, my whole life led me to this moment.
I'm not sure. I don't think Julia Louise Dreyfus was there last night, but I think she would be impressed. I'm impressed with the cot. They all dressed like Elaine used to dress in the 90s. You know, same kind of outfits. I thought that was really cool. Olivia, good.
Although the one lady, her shoe fell off as she was doing the kick, but yeah, they awarded the right lady.
Yeah, that was great. All right, let's take a quick break here. Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. You want to get on down there. This is a newly added event. It's coming up this Sunday, August 10th from 1 to 3 p.m. Those of you who are a fan of Slapshot, you might remember the Hanson brothers. Steve Carlson is going to be there signing autographs on Sunday, August 10th from 1 to 3 p.m. You do not want to miss it. If you've never watched Slapshot the movie, I recommend it highly. Head on down to Phil Castanetti Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus, be there. And also, Angel, for the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. Staff call me through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. We head to the NFL. And lots of camp news to tell you about as well. And then, in case you missed it last night, ESPN acquiring the NFL Network and Red Zone from the NFL. They've also acquired WWE Premier Programming, scripted programming from the WWE for their premier event starting next year. Interesting stuff. All right, we'll get to that. Bill Sparrows at 8:05 from the Boston Herald and senior betting analyst at bookies.com. And Scott Zolak from 98.5 The Sports Hub, former Patriots, Jets, and Miami quarterback as well, color analyst for the Patriots Radio Network on 98.5 The Sports Hub, too, will join me at 9 o'clock, all part of the Pete Shepard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Shepard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, mad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
And now, Williams backed into a corner. No room for error. One out, bases loaded, full count. Now they're coming to their feet. 10th pitch of the at-bat. And it's lifted to center. That's down, base hit. 2 runs headed to the plate. The Rangers at long last have the lead. What an at-bat by Rowdy Tellez.
Even a better day. Great at-bat.
Everybody all together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Oh. Just like a kick in the balls for the Yankees again last night. What a shame. Jump back. What's that sound? Another L in Yankee Town. Hey, I just made that up.
Pretty good.
Even a rapper. Welcome back to the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network here. And checking us out across the video platform. It is a hump day Wednesday. Red Sox win their 7th in a row. Phillies won again. Mets lose. Yankees lose. It's already a fantastic day. Coming up, Bill Sparrows at the top of the hour. Let's get to some NFL news for you. Cram as much in as we can. Scott Zolak at 9 o'clock, by the way. Let's begin with Mr. Muppet Jerry Jones in Dallas talking about Micah Parsons and says he's not very confident, if you can believe it, that he's going to be ready for the opener.
Confident that he will be on the field against Philadelphia?
Again, no. Absolutely not. That has to, a big part of that is his decision.
No, it's not.
How would I know that? I'm just saying. No, but I'm urgent.
You're urgent.
Okay.
Does he essentially need to reach out to you?
Again, y'all are getting in the what's in the mind and what's in the said. This is a good time. He's subject matter. We're it's what it is what it is, and we'll work through it, or we will not work through it.
You getting a script from Charlie Brown in Miami? I mean,
I was going to see that. Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. It just is just Jerry Jones. And it's the only time we talk about it to Cowboys, just to make fun of them. It's too bad because there is some talent on that team. But this guy is acting like a complete child and somebody brought it up, Micah Parsons is acting like the adult in this situation, and Jerry Jones is acting like a child because he won't talk to his agent. I mean, what is that? That should not go on in this day. And I'm sorry. And Jerry Jones wants everybody to just keep talking because he thinks he is the focal point of this team, not the players. He thinks people talk about him. It's all about Jerry Jones. And what a fucking muppet he is.
Yeah, that's why it's going to be great for us Eagles fans this year. If we don't even break their balls enough, don't worry, folks. We're going to have fat Jerry Jones head to the ball.
Yeah, you should be happy as an Eagles fan.
Yep.
He's under a contract for this year, fifth-year option of his rookie deal. Is set to make $21.324 million. And over the weekend, Jones talked about Dak Prescott and DeMarcus Lawrence playing on the final years of their contracts or on the franchise tag without issue. But look, I don't. Eventually, if Micah Parsons ends up getting paid a huge contract, which I'm still not sure about with this team, I mean, it just makes Jerry Jones. This is so stupid to drag this out like this. It's absolutely insane. But you got a muppet who runs your organization who thinks he's bigger than the league. That's exactly, you get exactly Cowboy fans what you deserve. And I know there's Cowboy fans out there that feel like I do. They want him out. Everybody wants him out. But until Muppet Man, Jerry Jones, retires and has a son, Steven, take over, and I don't know if that's going to be any different either. I really don't. Who knows if that's going to be any different either. But anyway, Angel, if we could, sticking with the NFL, interesting discussion yesterday on FS1, 2 days in a row playing Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd and Diana Rossini, who I've always loved, and formerly of ESPN. So we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings here, and it's under Dove Kleiman.
It is?
Yeah. And this is about Colin Cowherd and NFL insider Diana Rossini expose how the Vikings have been prepping up sophomore QB J.J. McCarthy.
Here's the thing. It's not that I haven't been burned by a source in my life, because sometimes people get bad information. But by and large, I trust people. And I've had many of the same pro football sources for a long time. And what I hear about J.J. McCarthy isn't what I hear like the sometimes reported. There is this almost protective bubble or sort of an elevation of what he's doing. And it's not what I'm hearing, that there are real concerns from last year on. And again, my stuff is running counter to mostly what I hear. I mean, I'm not asking you to divulge everything, but I feel like in this one, and I said this before the draft, I wasn't hearing teams were rushing to get J.J. McCarthy. I knew two teams that wanted to move up for Michael Penix. I knew one that wanted to move up for Drake May. And I didn't hear anybody moving up for Bo Nix. Sean Payton loved him, and that's about, he fell to where he should. But what I'm hearing on J.J. McCarthy would not instill confidence. Do I have a bad source? I mean, what do you make of the whole elevation of these stories that, hey, be patient, he's hitting it? Where are we on that?
Well, first, let's go with what I can tell you Alec Lewis, the Athletic Vikings reporter, shares with me, because I talk to him pretty regularly. And it sounds like it's just up and down, right? So there's some good, there's some bad. So, to that idea that the bad clips don't mean anything, I'm with you. It means something. At the same time, I've had coaches tell me when I used to be more of a beat reporter that sometimes you don't even know what we're doing. There's a reason why we're doing the certain things that we're doing, and you guys are just not informed. But that being said, I think what you're pointing to, it sounds like what you've noticed is maybe something that I've noticed too, is there is a lot of lifting up of J.J. McCarthy, right? And some of that's good, because you want to give this young quarterback coming off a very serious injury, who obviously struggled with sitting out, right? We saw the fact that he lost all that weight. And I know the Vikings don't want to make a big thing of that, because that just is part of the process.
Look at him now. Look how thin he
dealing
looks
with
right now.
a significant injury.
Jeez.
But it's also difficult
Yeah, high
to
school,
be
not
sitting
even.
there when you're supposed to be the guy, and Sam Darnold's out there at one point looking like the star of the show, right? And then you have an organization who makes the decision to let Sam Darnold walk. They want to keep Daniel Jones, but they don't want to pay what Daniel Jones wants, because Daniel Jones wants to be the guy, right? Those guys left Minnesota for a reason, because it was made very clear to them, no matter what, J.J. McCarthy is the guy.
So what is it? Is it because Kevin O'Connell truly believes that JJ is this superb Q who's going to come in here and turn this organization around and where they finally got their guy? I mean, possibly. Is it just because of what they did in the draft for him? Is it because they made these moves to get JJ McCarthy? Is there an ownership influence here? So there's always a lot of factors to your point. But I think to just succinctly answer your question, do I think JJ McCarthy is wowing everyone at training camp? No, I don't. I think he's fine. I still think Justin Jefferson told me what I needed to know when he spoke to the media before his injury and was like, essentially everyone needs to slow down here. Like, he is still learning. And we have to be able to give him some of this grace here.
Okay, that's enough.
So
I get it.
Yes,
we get it. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of him in the preseason, but man, he needs to put on some LBSs. Man, he does look very thin.
Yeah.
All right, let's head to Jacksonville. Liam Cohen on the Rich Eisen show yesterday, and the potential amount of offensive snaps for Travis Hunter could have.
You know, all of us in the media were trying to get you to put a number here. Do you have a number? Do you have a number, like a sweet spot number for the number of snaps you can get out of him week one and then maybe work him in later in the season? Do you have?
Yeah, I think if
does one exist?
It's a hard number to probably come up. If you're saying you're going to play 65 to 75 snaps on offense, let's call it, right? Yeah. And, you know, if he's playing 80% of those snaps or so, you know, and then similar, you know, defensively, and you look at trying to be able to match that number as much as possible. Okay. You know, it's
sure.
Ultimately for him, it's really going to come down to, like, you know, offensively and defensively. We've done more offense because that was where more of the development was necessary, right? So much more naturally to just go walk out in the field and play corner. Like, that's what he's done. He can go do that. Very similarly. Now there's a lot of checks, there's a lot of calls, there's a lot of different things that go to that. But offensively, we felt like there was a little bit more development that was necessary, and it's a lot more ball, right? Just a lot more scheme and words and calls. And so he has done his every single day, Rich, is completely packed from the moment that he arrives to the moment he leaves, with making sure that he is meeting with somebody at all times. And so I've been really pleased with the staff, our staff in general, and his work ethic. You want to play him as much as we can, though, Rich. That's the reality.
I love it.
All right, we'll see. That's going to be a really interesting team to watch this year. There's no question about it. And we'll get ESPN national radio host now, Mia O'Brien, on probably next week. Hopefully she'll have some time for us. Meanwhile, let's head to Philadelphia. Quarterback Jalen Hurts on his mindset heading into the season.
I'm my own biggest critic, and so I think that's been one of the healthy burdens on myself, because throughout all the change and throughout the different quarterback coaches and offensive coordinators, at the end of the day, I've been the one who's held myself to the highest standard. And so I've been able to progress having that mentality. And it's not just been at the professional level, but it's been coming out of college as well, and with all the change I had to deal with then. And so it's just having this growth mentality, being eager and being hungry, you know, and knowing that nothing that I've accomplished in the past will get me what I desire in the future, you know, and I think having that mentality as a team helps a lot as well.
I watched that game come to an end. Jalen's walking around, and I'm like, I don't know who won the football game because I'm watching him. Did you smile when you got into the locker room?
I smiled. I smiled big. I smiled big. Smiled big when I had the opportunity to enjoy that moment with my loved ones and my family, and dang sure my teammates when everyone was, you know, and they're having that moment, you know, and that was a moment that we had, and hopefully a moment we can try and bring to fruition again. But it's obviously a journey, and we're here right now. We're taking it a day at a time.
All right, Jalen Hurts right there, Sirius XM NFL Radio. Pat Kerwin and Jimmy Miller there do a great job. There you have it. So like that, Angel, what he said, a very mature, humble approach.
It is. Jalen he's matured enough and grown. And I think also the level of not putting him up somewhere in the top 20, yet only in the top 10 as far as quarterbacks, even though he did win the Super Bowl last year. But he's grown a lot mature wise to say the things that are on his mind, but doing it in a tasteful manner where he never goes against the grain. So no matter what disputes even he had last year, and yes, there was a lot of it, a couple of them that were real controversial. Even he tried to overcome and adapt that. I think this offseason with him getting married, and I know a lot of people made a big stink that he can go to the White House, but it was coincided with his marriage and some other stuff that he had going on. So to me, I think with Jalen and the level of maturity that he's had within this last season leading up to this year, I think you'll see even a better product of Jalen himself.
Yeah, certainly. Again, with that schedule, it's a Florida Gator type schedule. Oh, speaking of the Gators, if you have Netflix, there's an SEC documentary that is fucking fantastic. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and it is great. The second one was about Florida last year and what they went through with DJ Lagaway and Mertz going down, again, not only against the Hurricanes but getting hurt later on, I think against Kentucky. But it's fantastic. I recommend it highly. I also want to say we have now we're heard in like 57 countries. New ones today: Stockholm, Sweden. Hello, Sweden. And is it Sadabel, Spain? Hello. 2 new cities. How about that? Big in Sweden. Gotta love it. Norwegian people love us. Speaking of that, the great god of the Boston Herald, here he's joining us. It is the one and only Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald and from bookies.com, the senior betting analyst. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Is Ingrid and Anna going to join us after the show for a spa visit?
Hopefully. I can do anything I want on this show. So it's just, I'm not monitored by the FCC. So
yeah, very famous media. Yeah.
Anyway, how you doing?
I'm doing a lot better now that we got Mamma Mia listening to us in Sweden.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, I think we're like in 57 countries. We're in all 50 states. Angel is very good at keeping track of all that. I think we're in 57 countries now. My favorite is Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, hello. It's like, but Greece, Italy, all of Europe. We're in all of Europe. Russia, even though they blank out our music sometimes because they don't, if it's over 30 seconds, somebody might go to jail. But other than that, it's pretty smooth. It's pretty cool. All right, let's get
Danya. To our Russian brothers and sisters.
All right, let's get into it right out of the gate. A couple of big stories with ESPN acquiring the NFL, and then this morning I find out the WWE is going to be there as well. You want people into scripted stories and all that stuff, but it is definitely a big moneymaker. They're going to get all their premier events starting in 2026. Just your thoughts, NFL acquiring NFL Network and Red Zone. I have my Captain Kirk, Captain Picard red alert in the back of my head because I don't believe I have to be shown that ESPN is going to be able to handle this without putting a whole bunch of commercials on during Red Zone, which I fear, it's my biggest fear, even if it's up to the side while other games are going on. I don't know. I hope they do it justice. I know NFL Network, the station is still going to be there technically, but just your overall thoughts, William. You've been in this business a long time, and this is as big a merger as I can remember as far as media goes. Your thoughts on the whole process, and what are you expecting?
ESPN is back. It is now truly the worldwide leader once again. I think it's returning to its roots of basic meat and potatoes. What do people want? Let's give it to them. And the NFL and the WWE are probably the 2 most watched, profitable, bringing in the eyeballs properties you could ask for. We've talked about this in terms of betting. The NFL is probably 40% of all your betting handle. So, I think it's really, it's also a sign of what's to come, to where everything is going to be balkanized, and you can, it's $30 a month, but that's if you don't have traditional cable or satellite or YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And people are talking about this DTC, direct to customer app that ESPN is going to have. That's just for people who don't have anything and they just want to watch ESPN on their computers or their
$30
smart screens, to where they can just literally just get ESPN with nothing else. And you're at a point now where you can pretty much pick and choose what you want. At the end, it's never any cheaper, than having everything in a bundle, because you end up spending the same amount of money. It's really more just an opportunity to give people, the choice if they just want that. No one's going to lose anything. If you already have ESPN, you already have NFL Network, you're not going to lose anything. And I have to say, I truly believe that people running ESPN now are smart enough. I mean, what was the first thing that they did last night? Was Scott Hansen went out there and said, "Hey, nothing's going to change." I mean, that, so I think they're smart enough to realize, like, to what you said, like, I would be shocked if there were commercial breaks during Red Zone. Because you have to remember now, the NFL is an equity holder in ESPN. So, they're going to have some say in these decisions. And there's so much money involved that I don't think they need to screw with the integrity of Red Zone. I mean, it'll be sponsored. It'll be sponsored by somebody. It'll be Red Zone by Budweiser.
I mean, if it's scrolled across the bottom, that's fine.
Yeah, you'll have all that, but I think
if they cut the screen in half like once an hour, and even if the play-by-play is silenced, while we can still watch in a quad box and have a spot run for 30 seconds,
I don't think they want to screw with that, because that's, I think the people running ESPN now realized, they went through the darkness, and they went through they lost their way about 10 years ago, and they went off the rails, and they were hemorrhaging subscribers and hemorrhaging audience, and they realized that people are cutting the cord, so they need to do something streaming to have a presence, and B, their programming was a lot of crap. Now you can get, I usually have the NFL Network on just as background. So now that ESPN is going to be able to claim that audience, it's just a natural. And as far as the WWE goes, I mean, you're talking about an entire audience that doesn't really watch ESPN, but does watch the WWE. A lot of those people are not traditional sports fans. So that's really a way for, ESPN, they're broadening the tent. The tent is massive now. The tent is huge. And they're bringing people in as opposed to excluding and demonizing half their audience. It's a terrific move. It is a real, a real shot to everyone else, to Paramount, to Universal, to their competitors, that getting NFL Network and WWE is cannot be understated. I cannot understate the significance of that in terms of what it means for ESPN, and how any predictions of ESPN not being ESPN anymore are now dead. If anything, it's going to be bigger and broader, and it's going to have more people and more appeal. In the same way the New York Times has increased its audience by getting Wordle in The Athletic.
Yeah.
ESPN is increasing its audience with the WWE.
Guilty Wordle player every single day. Guilty.
And the New York Times counts that as its audience, as they should, because they own it. And this is, the people need to understand that the WWE audience is completely different. The large, the people who subscribe and pay for SummerSlam and pay for, WrestleMania and all these other, those are not traditional fans. They're younger, they're urban, they're 50% female. And that's an audience that ESPN wants and covets. And it used to get automatically when we were that age, but no longer does. So it's a really, really big deal.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah, real quick though, is the Royal Rumble, the SummerSlam series, all that stuff? Is that you're gonna have to pay for that, or is that going to be free? A lot of those events used to be on pay-per-view.
well, no, it's going to be part of the subscription
Okay.
service.
Yeah, so if you pay $30 a month, you get it
If
for
you
free.
pay $30 a month, you get it on your app. And
Well, if I already have ESPN, I won't get it. I'd have to subscribe. I'd have to subscribe to the app. I'd have to pay an extra $30 if I
that's
wanted.
an interesting question. I don't know the answer to that, and I didn't really get it by reading the press release.
I didn't either. That's
And
why
I
I'm
would
not.
imagine that, when they have a media availability, all that will be ironed out. In terms of how it works. I like when WrestleMania was on Peacock, you didn't have to, if you had Peacock, you could watch WrestleMania, but it wasn't on NBC. So maybe it will just be on the streaming. I don't know that.
Mhm.
But for $29.99 a month, you can get NESN Plus, or you can get everything on ESPN and wrestling. So I don't think that's a real hard choice. I mean, inside the globe with Linda Hendry and migrant struggles with Maura Healey, and diversity is our strength, with the Globe editorial board and a 2-hour version of the Red Sox game, or Red Zone and SummerSlam and WrestleMania.
And let me tell you,
Not sure which one I would take.
I've heard horror stories about streaming mess ups on NESN app. Heard horror. I don't get it because I have a practice. I heard. By the way, NESN Plus last night, they should have stuck that first broadcast on there and let my boys Dave O'Brien and Lou Merlone do their thing. But that's just my opinion. But I've heard horror stories about NESN's app streaming wise. Horror stories.
Well, you can get Bruins in 2 and watch Linus Olmark give up 3 goals in the third period. Or you could watch all of the Patriots road to Super Bowl
Yeah.
videos on an endless loop,
Which is fun.
which is what I expect at my wake.
All right, so we've got to that. Let's get to the Red Sox, and I got to eat some crow here. I got to eat some crow. I think a lot of people do. And my take on this team, which to me stands out. I said it's to Sean McAdam earlier this week and Bill Burt. You got to give, as much as it pains me, but you got to give Alex Cora a lot of credit for holding this thing together. And what I mean by that is there is absolutely no bitching and moaning from anybody about where they're going to bat in this lineup. Anywhere. I mean, even Terry in the past, Francona back in the day would have to go out. I don't know. Somebody doesn't want to bat second out. Tuss don't want to bat second out, lead up. And other, little quibble, some little quibbling. There is none of that on this team, whether it's Duran, whether it's Roman Anthony, whether it's Bergman, whether it's Story. These guys don't care. They will just keep their mouths shut and do, quote unquote, do their job. I'm pretty impressed overall with the way Cora has handled this. In this day and age, all things considered. How about you?
Well, I'm impressed that he didn't throw a tantrum at the trade deadline for the first time in 3 years. I think that helped.
Yeah.
If the players see their manager getting pissed, they get pissed. And the other thing too, sort of based on everything that we've seen, and I think a lot of common sense, is I think the presence of Alex Bregman has really changed everything. I think having him there is, if Alex Bregman isn't bitching about where he's hitting in the lineup, then I'm not going to bitch, right?
Yeah.
It's the old, when Willie McGinnis was the, drill gunny sergeant in the Patriots locker room, and his locker was right at the door. And if Willie McGinnis and Brady weren't bitching, then you're not going to bitch. And I think a whole lot of that holds true with Bregman. I think bringing him in addition to his contributions, on the field and at the plate, I think he's probably got immense sway in that clubhouse, and he's setting the tone. We talked ad nauseum about Devers, and the one thing Devers was never going to be was a leader. And because it's just not in his makeup. With Bregman, it is his makeup. And I think his presence alone has has tempered a lot of that. And also, again, I think we mentioned this before, but these are younger players. They've been brought up in this analytics-driven era. So you can say to Roman Anthony, look, this guy's a lefty, and you might not do as well as him, except if we can get somebody on base and get him out of the stretch. So maybe we're going to move you down in the order. So I think that the younger players just aren't as fixated about that stuff. Whereas a guy like Wade Boggs, oh my God, you moved me out of the order, my jinxes are going to
Well,
happen.
so many, I mean, that is a totally different mindset now. Which really, I always thought it might get worse because so many athletes are, much more diva-esque now than they used to be. But
I don't.
with this team, I mean,
Well, no, not with this. I just look. I just think that it's like anything else, right? Winning is the best narcotic. It's the best. It's winning cures everything, and they're winning games. They're walking off games on and the ballpark is packed and the weather it's turned. Apparently it was really nice there last night.
Yeah, it was.
And it's still school is still out up there for another few weeks, and there's nothing else going on. And to their credit, the Red Sox have capitalized on this gap. They have a chance to reassert themselves. Again, NFL is king, and we get that.
Yeah.
But they have a chance this year to reassert themselves in the hearts and minds of the proletariat up there. Because the Celtics are in the wilderness. The Bruins are the Bruins. And the Patriots, if they get 7 wins, people are going to go berserk.
They're going to get
So
moving.
the Red Sox have an opening, and to their credit, they're taking advantage of it. And
Right. And between that and the like me, to watch the Yankees continue to just go south in every which way is unbelievable. They're like,
that's an added bonus.
I know, but if they lose to Texas today, they're out. They would be looking up.
It's great because you see, this is what happens when you don't have leadership, right? You think Steinbrenner, either one of them, who are no longer with us, would have put up with this? No, I don't think so. I mean, the boss would have been throwing chairs through the window, and he'd be on the back page every day, and he would have probably fired Boone 6 times this season.
That's what Sean said to me yesterday.
And you don't have that anymore with the Yankees, and the Red Sox lost that with Lucchino. But at least with the Red Sox, they're playing well and they're winning. Of course, they haven't won a playoff game in 3 years, but that's another story. So you don't have that with the Red Sox or Yankees anymore, where ownership is losing its mind every time a team loses. And what surprises me the most about the Yankees, being of this age and remembering, Steinbrenner and Billy Martin getting fired in light beer commercials, is that this is happening to the Yankees and nothing is being done. It's like, okay, whatever. We've had the same GM for 1,000 years. We've had the same manager for 1,000 years. You're right. They may well miss the playoffs. They don't appear to be getting any better. The pitching is terrible. Yeah. And what's going to happen, right? I mean, what's going to happen? Who knows? Maybe they'll clean house. Maybe they'll, sign Devers and offer Bregman the moon.
But nobody thinks Aaron Boone's getting fired before the end of the season. There
you go, right there. Of course. And that's the problem, right? What complacency, breeds apathy, and pretty soon it's going to be September, and guys are going to start checking out. There's going to be a lot of hamstrings, a lot of quads, a lot of like sore shoulders, sore elbows, undiagnosed. That happens, with a team that's struggling, and they're struggling, and they are kind of like the Red Sox of yore, without that leadership and without, really a manager that, I got to believe a lot of those guys have checked out or are about to check out if they haven't checked out already. And now they got Pedro Martinez dunking on him on social media. Looks like daddy's home, right? Make room for daddy.
That's right.
Pedro's dropping bombs on social media.
You brought a great point again about Bregman, and Bill Burt yesterday or 2 days ago was telling me he was covering the game the other night, and how he is at the batting cage with every one of these guys, and he looks for things. He said Yoshida was having a really hard time with the pitching machine, pulled him aside, and within like 30 seconds corrected whatever because he couldn't get the timing down. And Bregman pulled him aside. And it's things like that he does with everybody. It's a huge, huge thing. And they better sign this guy. Give him
Well,
whatever.
and again, it's good because he has a previous relationship with Cora, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing this, and he's not doing it. Obviously, the manager has approved. He's not undermining Cora's authority, right? He's augmenting it. Like a good, and
Mhm.
again, I don't know how they, and I'm saying this in a generic sense, like a real captain,
Yeah.
not like, oh, the C's on my chest or Charlie
Sure.
McAvoy. Ooh. No, I'm talking about like, like a captain, and leadership isn't even bestowed by rank, right? Leaders emerge. They just, who the boss is before he becomes a sergeant or a captain. He's the boss first and the rank follows. Bregman is just doing it. And obviously, we saw this for years with the Patriots, and especially, but even other teams like the Celtics, especially the big three of 20 years ago. You saw these guys who just emerged as leaders, and he's obviously that guy. And I would imagine they knew that. Cora probably said, "Listen, this guy's going to bring intangibles beyond his presence in the lineup." And the Red Sox are going to say, "Listen, Bill, we were right. We got rid of Devers." And I'm not sure it's because of it, but it's certainly undeniable that this is a better team now than the team that took 7 of 8 from the Yankees and Rays with Devers. And maybe, maybe that's what it took. Maybe this was Nomar 2.0, where they just had to make a move for a million different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, they got something for Nomar. Everybody forgets Doug
Yeah.
Mankiewicz caught the ball that ended the 86-year World Series jinx.
Well, Cabrera,
I don't think Jordan Hicks is going to catch anything but a crick in the neck when Bryce Harper or Carl Schwarber takes him, 472 feet in the World Series.
But I think the biggest thing, you got 3 legitimate starters right now. I'm obviously Crochet's an ace. He's up for the Cy Young Award. Giolito is pitching almost just as the numbers, the last 10 starts are right there. And Brian Bayo, he's establishing himself, going 6+. He's getting, 10 or 11 straight quality starts. I mean, you got 3.
Yeah, there must have been something there must have been something physically structurally wrong with him, because everybody forgets he was your opening day starter last year, and then he fell off the face of the earth.
Yep.
And he has been pitching his ass off the last 3 months. So maybe you got to believe it was something like mechanical or physical, or maybe he was tipping pitches and he's not doing that anymore. It'd be really interesting to see what he changed, because he is a different pitcher.
Yeah, I'd like to see him develop a really good changeup if possible, because he's got some nasty stuff. But if Pedro could ever work with him, Pedro had 5 different changeups with those ET fingers that he had. I don't know if I've had the privilege of shaking his hand a couple of times. I have a big hand. His hands look like ET fingers. I mean, his fingers can go around the ball like twice. It's crazy. He had 5 different changeups with the Red Sox. If he could ever show him, Bayo, how to throw a couple of those, that guy would be devastating. I'm serious. But we'll see.
Well, it all comes like it always does, right? It's always pitching.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the gambling world here. And today I have a lot more extra time, because you were batting third in the lineup today, and Zoe's fourth coming up, clean up.
Hey, I just got to get on base, man.
You're already on base.
I mean, I'm gonna get like Kevin Millar, man. I'm just gonna draw the walk, and then you get a pinch runner. But Zoe, man, he's gonna knock me in from second base.
Yeah, he's calling in by phone because he's not coordinated enough to look at the
Big
phone
swinger.
at the same time. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like Tom Dreesen at Caesar's Palace. Oh, Frank's coming. Don't worry. If you laugh at my jokes, Frank will be out here sooner.
You've been talking about this for a couple of months about the illegal offshore gambling platforms are having a vulnerable community,
Finally,
especially young people with no oversight or accountability.
Holy Christ.
Finally, the Massachusetts AG has been listening to you and is doing something about it. But for our listening audience, tell everybody what all of this means.
Well, you had finally, you had 50 attorney generals, and I think it included D.C. and the Virgin Islands, so it wasn't 50 states. I'm not sure who wouldn't want to sign on to this. But this is a really bipartisan, I think it's a nonpartisan issue. They basically sent a letter to the attorney general and said, listen, we need a federal effort to shut down and ban offshore betting sites and sweepstakes betting sites because they are eating the lunch of online operators who are in turn funneling much needed cash to these cash strapped states. It always comes down to money, right? Doesn't it always?
Absolutely, yeah.
It is kind of interesting how when these states were getting billions of dollars in COVID aid to subsidize their programs, this was kind of a non-issue, but now this gambling revenue is becoming more and more important to each state that has legal sports betting and legal iCasino, because the federal government is no longer bailing them out. There's no more COVID money coming. And, now with the new budget bill, states are going to lose Medicaid funding. So the states need this gambling money now more than ever, which was the impetus for the Massachusetts Attorney General and her brethren and sistren to, reach out to the federal government and say, hey, we need your help. We need you guys to ban these IP addresses. And it really is because this happened before with poker, as some of you may know.
I know. I mean,
and it happened, it happened, when in the original days of the internet with PASPA, where there were IP addresses, being banned in from the U.S. and it's not just and I hear this all the time. Oh, I just use a VPN. Well, guess what? Your friggin' bank ain't using a VPN. So what needs to happen is that the federal government does, since these states are now, this is legal. People, the Supreme Court legalized it, and sports betting is OG schoolhouse rock. Every state, had a bill. Every, both houses in every state, every state Senate, every state House, and every state governor legalized sports betting, signed off on it, passed it, and signed it into law. So it hasn't been imposed on anyone except in states where, even in Florida, the legislature had to approve the compact. So every state where there's legal sports betting, it's been approved by the elected representatives and signed into law by the elected governor. So it hasn't been forced on anybody. And so what's happened is, these states are realizing that now they need this money. And the operators are saying, look, all these offshore books and these sweepstakes sites are taking away our customers and therefore taking away your revenue. But the state of Massachusetts can't, ban an offshore site. But what the federal government could do is not only ban the IP addresses, but restrict them from using any U.S. banks to fund bets. Yeah. So that's the real key, is that you need the federal government to tell every bank and every financial institution in the United States, you cannot fund these offshore websites. You can't use them. Your credit cards can't work there, and the banks can shut them off in a minute.
All right, let me throw this at you. As someone who has done this for a long time, not recently, because after our conversations, I stopped using Bovada. It kills me that I don't play poker anymore sometimes, especially on weekends. But that's okay, because I don't trust it anymore that I would get my money like I have in the past. But you may know how this works, but maybe not. Let me tell you. So if you go to deposit, say Bovada or a lot of these other sites, say $25, which will cost you about 27 to 28. They say something. When it shows up on your bank statement, it does not say Bovada, poker, whatever else. It says something either from Europe or China or some hardware store that you never heard of in Europe. It does not say that on your bank statement. So I always wondered, and they tell you, I know, I've had off the record conversations, which I will now say on the record. They will tell you, don't ever tell your bank this is for poker when we send you the check. Just tell them, hopefully your bank will cash it. And, Bovada would take about anywhere from 5 days to 15 days to send it to you. When you wanted it, you're only allowed to cash out 3 times a month. But on the statement, or your bank statement, it would never say poker or
Well, I
Bovada.
understand that, but also people need to understand that this is why Otani's bookie is going. See, the government tracks every financial transaction over $600 or whatever it is. So all of these transactions are traceable. And you can, in this day and age, it is impossible to hide or launder money. I mean, it is like if you wanted to launder, like if someone gave you $1 million in cash right now,
Yeah.
you would have to probably spend a month working 40 hours a week to launder that money without getting caught.
I can't just fly to the Cayman Islands and stick it in a bank?
Well, you can do that once.
Once.
But I'm, I mean, it's hard to do this. And the federal government has so many tools. The IRS has so many tools to trace all of this money. And the bottom line is that, the federal government has the legal and, technical power to do all this. And to me, the fact that you have all of these attorneys generals, and again, it's a nonpartisan thing. It's not just bipartisan, it's nonpartisan. It's all these states saying, listen, some of them don't even have legalized betting, but they realize, see, and this is the other thing that really drives me crazy when people talk about gambling, because they'll always say, oh, 13-year-old kids are betting sports. Yes, they are, but they're not doing it with a legal site. They're doing it with an offshore site. So they always conflate. You see these people on social media who post about gambling. They have no freaking idea.
No idea. They're helicopter people. I'm telling
you. And they conflate, teenagers betting sports. Yes. But are they betting with DraftKings? No. Unless they're stealing their parents' ID, and even that's hard to do now.
You think kids these days around like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, when I first saw kids going around selling dollar cards, here's $1, fill out the best college and best in all the NFL games. You pick 5, you hit 5, you'd win whatever it was. Do you think that still goes on? Because it was pretty prevalent back in the 80s in my day.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember my son telling me about that when he was in school like 10 or 15 years ago. So, I mean, I just think now they all, the kids that are wise enough, just get a gift card and they use it and load up their Bovada account, or if some parents would give them so that's your underage gambling that these attorney generals mentioned in their letter. Yeah, that's a huge problem. Is that because sports betting is legal? No, it's because the government isn't doing enough to combat illegal sports betting.
And initially, you have to tell the bank, whatever bank you're using, I don't care what state you're in, if you're still using Bovada, like I said, I would not recommend it right now because of our conversations, but you have to tell the bank, look, I do business overseas. You don't have to say poker again. You just tell them that I do business overseas, and you're going to see some statements come up, and they click a little box in your account saying allowed, allowed. So
and again, once if the federal government were to finally do something on this, or the Department of Justice would, begin prosecuting people, or, there are plenty of laws already on the books. Frankly, I think that can be used to prevent this. It's just really a question of enforcement. And, all of this, whenever we talk about betting, we're still talking about an industry that is still growing and maturing. It's not, there are certain industries that are very established where you can say, okay, we know what it is. We don't know yet what the legal betting space is going to look like, because you have trading markets that may or may not be sports books, depending on what the courts eventually decide. I mean, there are cases right now in the midst of litigation trying to decide whether or not Kalshi and Robinhood and those prediction markets are sports betting or trading markets. Of course, they advertise themselves as betting and sports betting. But again, a lot of this stuff is still undecided.
Yeah.
And so when people read stories about gambling or see people on social media, say that the NFL has never profited from gambling and now it's going to profit from gambling because it owns ESPN, that may be the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life.
I agree.
And it's like, you really, and this is sort of my job. I don't promote gambling. That's not what I do. My job is to cover it, inform people, and let people know here's what's really happening. Here's the reality of it. And, that's all I can do. I can't, I can't fight someone.
Don't shoot the messenger. Don't, as the saying goes, you're just talking about the reality. And the other reality is what you wrote about. And I want to bring us back to what you just talked about, NFL buying ESPN and having a 10% stake in ESPN. How is that going to affect ESPN Bet? Are they going to be done? I mean, New Yorkers can't.
I'll tell you this. Again, I would say, ESPN Bet is on the clock. They went live in November of 2023, and there is a 3-year and a 7-year opt-out in the contract, which means either side can bail. Penn or ESPN can bail at that point. Now, I don't think Penn is gonna stick with it. It's not making it. I mean, they spend at $150 million a year to have ESPN market their sports book. That's what that is. ESPN does not have a sports book. They get $150 million a year so that Penn Entertainment could put the ESPN Bet name on the Penn Entertainment sports book. Okay, so they don't own the sports book. Obviously, they're trying to make it work. They just sort of reintroduced the book this year. I got the release the other day. This is kind of it for them. This football season is it. If ESPN Bet can't really break out of where it's at in terms of market share, I think that Penn is probably going to pull the plug, because they do make a lot of money with their retail casinos. Because they're established, like all their casinos, they've probably paid off like the debt, the mortgage. They've owned these properties for years, so they don't have a lot of overhead, and so they're making money on their land-based casinos, and they're not doing well at all with the sports book. And I think there are other issues involved now that the NFL is a stakeholder in ESPN, and therefore a partner. I mean, the NFL signed $1 billion worth of sponsorship deals with FanDuel, DraftKings, and Caesars, and it also gets licensing fees from every other sports book. Every time you go on a sports book and you see the Patriots logo or the Dolphins logo, that book is paying the NFL a fee for the right to use that logo. Those are all trademarked. They pay licensing fees. So the NFL may, look at it and say, well, damn, we're going to lose money by, is DraftKings going to want to give the NFL money, sponsorship money? They'll pay the licensing fees. But as DraftKings want to give the NFL sponsorship money when the NFL is also a stakeholder in a competing sports book? That's where those are the two issues concerning the future of ESPN Bet. One is its own viability, which has been an issue ever since it launched. And I they keep telling me wait till after this year, and I'm gonna, I'm trying to be fair, and I want to do that. So if we're having this conversation in February when we're getting revenue numbers from January, February, December, and ESPN Bet hasn't really broken out, then you will pretty much know that it's over. It may also be over because the NFL may say, listen, now that we own 10% of your network, we cannot be a party to this type of sponsorship deal. Because A, it's going to threaten our revenue from these other sports books. And B, there is going to be an issue problem. And we know how much Roger Goodell cares about that.
Yeah.
Are you going to suspend fill in the blank player for a season for betting on games when you own a part of a network who's licensing its name to a sports book? I mean, that's going to take the hypocrisy to a whole nother level.
Well, let me just throw
and
this
the
out.
difference too
Yeah.
is that with the sponsorship money the NFL gets from DraftKings is factored into the salary cap. So the players get 48% of that money turned into player salaries. With this agreement that the NFL has with ESPN, any money the NFL gets or any benefit the NFL gets from that ESPN Bet partnership is not treated the same way as this other sponsorship revenue. So the players union might have an issue with that because they may say, hey, you're going to pull the plug on $1 billion worth of sponsorship money, which we're getting a piece of, to do business with a sports book that we're getting nothing from. So there's a lot of layers to this.
Well, also let me ask you this, because when I worked for Patriots.com, when I first got let go by EI, and then I got hired by Mr. Kraft and worked for Patriots.com for like 2 years, from like 2010 to 2012. If you went online back then to any type remotely tried to get into any gambling website, it was blocked. Blocked. I'm sure that it's changed now, but I'm wondering now, because of exactly what we're talking about. I guess if you shut your Wi-Fi off on the stadium, you can always get on to anything, I guess. But if you're using a particular stadium's Wi-Fi, and the NFL is as serious about this, about not letting you bet on games, they have to protect the players, is it possible that they would block you trying to get on DraftKings or FanDuel to bet on while you're in the stadium? Do you think that could happen again?
No, hardly. It's the opposite.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The NFL stadiums have juiced up their Wi-Fi so you
Totally.
can host and gamble in the stadium.
Yes.
How this works is it's very simple. It all goes back to Social Security numbers. When you sign up for DraftKings, you give them your Social Security number. When you apply for your job at Patriots.com, they need your Social Security number so you can get paid.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is they match them. It's very simple. It's very it's an intricate technology, but it's a very simple process. They match Social Security numbers and locations. It's very simple stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get all these people. Oh my God, who placed this bet? It's this guy with this Social Security number. Well, the account says it's Mrs. Smith. Well, Mrs. Smith's son plays in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Mrs. Smith wasn't in the locker room an hour before the game, so it must have been the player. That's how they figure all this stuff out. It's not rocket science. They know where you are when you bet. They know who you are, or at least they know whose Social Security number and ID you're using. And like the football players at Iowa State that got nailed 4 years ago, it was the kid using his mother's Social Security number and ID, but the bet was placed from inside the football locker room after practice. So it wasn't hard to figure out it was his mom. His mom was not making those bets because she wasn't in the locker room an hour after practice. So that's how they figure this stuff out. It's the same way with people who, if the federal government clamps down on these offshore books, these people trying to do workarounds when it comes to everybody goes to jail. Every gambler goes to prison for money laundering and tax evasion. Okay, that's what they get you on. Money laundering and tax evasion.
You got Capone, they'll get you.
And everything you do, every financial transaction you make, unless it's cash to cash, is going to show up on the system. If you put anything that goes into a bank, anything that goes onto a credit card, anything that goes onto a gift, it's all traceable. So eventually they're going to find out, and eventually they're going to shut it down. And that's what these attorney generals are asking for. Both the IP issue and the banking issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing, and Bill, one thing I do love about the Hard Rock app here in Florida, and I don't know how efficient all these other ones are, the timing, man. I done well this week, had a few shekels and everything else. I mean, I put some money in my account today, and it was instantaneous. Maybe a minute went by. I hope these other, I'm sure FanDuel and ESPN Bet and DraftKings are like that. But
I mean,
at least
it's
the Hard Rock Bet, the app down here, it may not have as many options as some of these other ones, but I'll tell you this: you get your money like that.
Yeah, they have a much smaller trading staff than these other books do. And of course, the ones that are backed by casinos, they've had huge trading staffs. All of the legal books in every state, and we know it depends state by state, but they all have basically the same rules about having funding available, having payouts available. All of that stuff is spelled out. And wherever state you are, whatever state you bet in, all of those rules and regulations are spelled out. They're written down in the House rules or in the legislature or regulations of each particular state in terms of how quickly they have to pay the money out. When a funds of all of that stuff is spelled out. And the legal books, one thing they do very well is paying your bets and getting you your money. They're really good about that, and they have to be because they've agreed to be. So, that's a plus. Well, there's a lot of minuses. We talk about those for the last 2 years, but that's one plus you have with betting through a licensed legal online book is that you're going to be paid in an expeditious manner. And those rules are all spelled out in advance. They don't wing it. They wing it on some, sometimes they give you a refund if somebody gets hurt and all this stuff. But every time someone loses their mind on Twitter about a bet not being paid, it's all spelled out in the house rules.
Yep.
And if they violate the house rules, you go to the Mass Gaming Commission and Eileen O'Brien screams at them and they get fined $10,000 to $450,000.
Unbelievable. Yeah, as they should. Bill, man, thank you so much. You're a great leadoff hitter for Zoe coming up in a couple of minutes here. So I thank you for that as always. Great stuff, great insight. We could do 4 hours just on this alone. It's just for me, it's a fascinating topic. Anyway, thanks so much, Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald. Great columnist. Read his stuff. I've already retweeted a couple of things. And of course, senior betting analyst at bookies.com. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
Thank you,
Pete. Have one exhibition game in hand, but we'll talk next week.
Give Zoe my best. I met him once.
Oh, really?
I met him at the opening of Encore.
God, when we were working with him back in the day, his mom would make pierogies every time he came on the show, like ridiculous. Absolutely off the chart ridiculous.
I did not get any pierogies.
We'd all have to take a nap by 2:30. Anyway, all right, Bill, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Thanks a lot. Bill Sparrows from the Boston Herald, senior betting analyst, bookies.com. Angel Martinez, let's take a quick break here and then get ready for Monsieur Zolak coming up next year on the Pete Shepard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Shepard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Some quarterbacks don't play in the preseason. Just how comfortable do you feel like? How do you feel like? How many games do you feel like you need to play
I think we at least need to see the field each and every game. I think that'll be good for our team. It'll be good for Tanner in that in-game stuff. It'll be good for me, the guys on offense. I don't think I know some guys they sit out the whole preseason, but I don't think that's the case with us. Just because of the new team, new offense and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean I don't. That's kind of how I feel about the situation. So.
All right, that's Justin Fields talking about playing in the preseason from SNY. Thank you for the Jets. Zoe unfortunately had to back out. He's got a last-minute production meeting. Of course, he does the color commentary. The game is Friday night when the Patriots host Washington. Tom Brady's statue will be unveiled. He's going to join us tomorrow, Angel, at 8:30, I believe, instead, because tomorrow's program is fully booked. Trevor Story at 8:05. We'll have Zoe at 8:30, John Meter-Perrell at 9, and then the big old Glenn Ordway at 9:30 tomorrow. So absolute full show, full of guests tomorrow here. So I'm just going to play a couple more cuts here from the NFL, Angel, and then you can go get some rest, call it a day.
Wait. Also, let's not forget, after the NFL, one Josh Prey.
Oh, let's do that. You know what? Let's end on that. No, let me play. Hang on a second. Let me played your Jalen Hurts. Yeah, let's just get to that. Let's get to, we'll have more time for NFL tomorrow. Josh Prey, my favorite comedian from Immokalee down here in Southwest Florida, but now he's kind of nationally famous. And he had this unbelievable take 2 days ago on why, if you are an extraterrestrial, do not invade this planet at this time due to all the chaos.
Boy.
Of the universe. Why do y'all want to come to Earth so bad? Ain't nothing down here is worth having. Trust me, soon as y'all land, the entire thing smells like pot and fat and all. I know what y'all thinking. Y'all thinking this is that Earth from the 1970s and the 1980s. But this is not that Earth. This ain't the Earth you want. This ain't the Earth with bell bottoms, pure everything. Bush was acceptable. This ain't what you want. This Earth has changed. A woman got on camera and said that she'll spit on a penis and she became a millionaire. Y'all do not want this Earth. This ain't the Earth that E.T. came from. If E.T. was to crash down here right now, they'll have E.T. stretched out on TikTok doing dun dun dun. This is not the Earth that you think it is. To all you drone drivers, to all you Uber drone havers, ETs, you aliens and spaceships, you think y'all can just come down here and secretly kidnap or secretly abduct somebody? I guarantee you, whoever you abduct, they gonna go live on whatever social media they biggest on. It's your boy Josh Prey. I'm being abducted by a bunch of aliens right now. Ain't nothing in here right now. I'm not saying we ain't even scared of y'all. I'm just trying to say leave well enough alone right now. We just trying to get back to normal. We trying to do this thing. Give us like 100 more years, then you can kill them all. Please don't ruin this for us. I'm not saying you can't come back. Stop at the moon. Stop at Uranus. Stop at Venus. They say girls are from Venus anyway. Stop at Mars. Pick up some guys. Elon Musk sent y'all a message because he's the only person trying to find the sky. To all you drone people, this ain't the same Earth that y'all think it is. This is an Earth with an F.
Oh, he's absolutely terrific. Absolutely terrific. Oh, man. All right, Angel, what you got coming up? What's coming up on the network today?
Coming up later on, you'll have Bees World. That'll be at 7 p.m. tonight with Jay and myself. So that'll be coming up. Also, today is Wednesday. Talking Hoops will be back next week. They've been on a 2-week vacay because of a lot of business that what they normally do in the full-time job. So they shall be back next week. And pretty much just loading up is the audio. You guys can always listen into the audio of the shows afterwards over on the website. And the reason why you guys see it flashing up on the screen there, because right now you go to sr1029thegame.com. Of course, you can go there, but it will flash to the Coastal Sports Digital Network.com. And that's why it's going across the way it is. So, and by the way, Rick says, happy hump day and good morning, Dylan.
There you go, Dylan. Good morning and happy hump day. Absolutely. Goldberg says Rick M. All right. And also, don't forget that, what the hell was I going to say? I forget. I had something else to say, and now I forgot what I was going to say. Well, thanks to our guests today. Thanks to Bill Sparrows. Again, tomorrow, just double check here. I think so. He got back to me. I want to make sure that, sure. Okay, yes, he's good. Yes, you have to be very precise with Joe because he's a little stonot sometimes. And there we go. So tomorrow, Trevor Story 8:05, Scott Zolak at 8:30. John Meter-Perrell at 9, and the big old Glenn Ordway at 9:30. So I'll be back tomorrow at 7 in the a.m., everybody. And don't forget, this is what I'm going to tell them. Don't forget, you've got all the cuts. Make sure you play the Mets losing as you open with Jay tonight. Please, I'll be listening.
All right.
All right, you got it. All right, Angel, great job as always. I'm back. I'm Pete. I'm back tomorrow at 7 a.m. here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. See ya.